Welcome to the Printer's Edge with Rock LaManna, a podcast about how to sell, buy, or build a printing business. Now here are your hosts, Rock LaManna and Ken Okel.
Thank you for joining us on the Printer's Edge podcast. Hi, I'm Ken Okel. Glad to have you with us. And of course, you know this program is brought to you by the LaManna Alliance. And here, as always, is Mr. Rock LaManna. How you doing, Rock?
Doing great, Ken. Thank you.
Rock, I know you have been out in the marketplace lately. You've been appearing at conferences. You've been flying on jets across the country. Busy time for you. And today I know we want to talk about a very specific topic that I think people are going to be very interested in. Here's what we're calling this episode: Label Company for Sale. Here's what's happening. So, Rock, take us into this world of the sale of a label company.
This particular situation was very interesting. I was contacted by a European company to help assist in selling this business. It was great that they trusted me and realized that I have a lot of contacts here, because most people contact me for a buy or a sell situation and how to go about it and so on. In this particular case, they wanted to find an ideal buyer. So I assessed the situation, looked at the financials, looked at the prospectus, and realized, hey, this could be a very interesting situation. In fact, a lot of my clients are buyers. They're leaders in the industry, and they're always looking for great opportunities that are a strategic fit for whatever criteria that they're looking for. It could be revenue size, it could be territory, it could be customer base, capability, and of course, the potential. So that's how it started, and it worked out real well. I went down, looked at the opportunity with a potential buyer, and realized that during the walkthrough, I usually walk through, Ken, at least 2 to 4 operations per month.
Okay.
So that's an average of, 30 to 40 per year. And I'm looking at small operations less than $1 million in sales, all the way up to $250 million in sales.
And what happened next?
I had a particular client that was pushing me to find something as a buyer, and this is a Canadian company. Canadian company looking for United States platform to diversify. And so I connected with the broker, set up the appointment, had the walkthrough with the buyer, the potential buyer, had a very interesting and surprisingly impressive opportunity. And there's not many that are available like this, because the sales were less than $3 million. However, they had some fantastic equipment, tremendous software integration, people, awesome people, and the business was growing at significant, it's basically a startup.
Okay.
It was only around for 2-3 years. So I was very impressed. And my buyer was in the 10 million range in sales and been in business for over 25 years. Had a family business, or has a family business, and they were looking for a potential opportunity for the son. And I realized after the meeting and so on that it may not be a right fit for the buyer. It was a disappointment.
Sure.
Because after I walked through the operation, as I mentioned, I look at 30, 40 operations per year in packaging, wide format, finishing, label, web, digital. I mean, I look at all types of businesses. Well, in this particular situation, I realized that the buyer's son was not interested in succeeding his father in the business.
And that happens a lot, right?
Oh, yes, very much so. And the father was in denial. That's what I felt. Especially when the question was asked of me how my father and I developed a succession plan. And so my gut feel, after all this experience of close to 20 years doing deals for third parties, I realized that this is not going to be a buyer this will probably be a seller in the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
I started working on that already, automatically.
Thinking ahead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because that's what I feel. It takes 3 to 5 years for someone to really get emotionally prepared, financially prepared, and let's face it, everybody needs an estate plan also. So during this situation, I had to keep going on. I thought it was such a great opportunity for others. It's too good of a deal. This has got to be done. I called 3 others and met one face-to-face to say, hey, listen, I highly recommend you take a peek at this operation. And they chose not to on the spot. However, after I sent the prospectus and the NDA and so on, they decided to move forward on it. And they actually made an offer without looking at the operations. That's my first.
Yeah, it's a little unusual.
Oh, very unusual. But it met its criteria. They met their criteria of equipment, diversification, geographic situations, and the people. So when we talk about people, a strategy, it met their strategy and their criteria of acquisition, and they're on the fast track. These guys are looking at 5 to 7 acquisitions per year in the next 2 to 3 years. So it's going to be a tremendous ride. The execution needs to be done by people. So that's all being put together by attorneys, accountants, and their finance people and so on. And of course, cash. Cash always helps. And when you have the financial wherewithal to be able to do it, it makes things happen a lot quicker. And there was chemistry. So we met, the buyer and the seller met a couple times, and I had the walkthrough, and then we brought in the general manager and the controller to their main facility in Canada, and it was a done deal after that because the chemistry was there, the LOI was signed, a 10-year lease, which was very, very attractive for the seller. It all worked out for everybody. So to me, it was a awesome way to achieve a win-win-win. And so that's kind of where that happened. And, you're talking about less than 2 months, and that's very unusual.
It seems very fast.
Not only very fast, we're on to our next deals now. So to me, this is the signature piece over the next 5 to 7 years of growth cycle of probably doubling every 3 to 4 years. So I'm very excited about that.
And just for the listeners out there, what would you say are some of the lessons learned from this experience you had?
Well, let's look at the seller in this case. The seller had 4 partners, ranging in age of mid-40s to their 80s. So the majority owner had a 60% equity position. The CEO had a 20%. The controller and the general manager had 10 apiece. But we knew we wanted to retain the experience of the general manager and the controller. So that was very attractive. So the estate plan of the 80-year-old was moving quickly. And the only stumbling block, which really surprised me, which was the 3-week, let's call it negotiation, was based on one thing: working capital. Working capital for the 4 owners, the 2 that were exiting wanted their cash up front.
Okay.
The buyer had a different intention and wanted to reduce their risk, even though the working capital was guaranteed. So it's very interesting where everything else was a slam dunk. Hey, we trust each other. The chemistry is there. We're going to build this company. We're going to basically double to triple it, we figure, in 3 years.
Amazing.
And we're very excited about that because our buyer has approximately 30 salespeople on the street. So that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome to have that type of sales power. So the lessons learned basically in my case was chemistry was important, liking each other. There was competition. There were two other bids, two other offers during this time, but I think we were in better position because of the strategic fit, the chemistry of the buyer and the seller's people, and there is a strategy that was written. And let's face it, we're talking about a tremendous financial balance sheet that anyone would appreciate.
In just a moment, we're going to give you a preview of the next edition of the Printer's Edge podcast. But first, Rock, I want to make sure if someone wants to reach out to you, how should they do that?
It's not very difficult. My website is rocklamanna.com. It's ROCKLAMANNA. I could also be LinkedIn. My profile is on there. And also you could subscribe for free to my blog post and also LNNW Label and Narrow Web subscriptions.
And I always like with your newsletter that you send out to the people who've signed up, we get to sometimes see the pictures of you around and about the world. So that's always an entertaining thing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We always give a heads up where we're going to be. Last month was the GOA. We exhibited. I was at TLNMI in St. Pete, Florida with all the great converters. And this coming month, where am I going? Canada. I'll go to AWA. I'm going to go look at some operations, buyers and sellers. I'll be in the Midwest quite a bit in April. Also, ICE at Orlando. I'll be at ICE Expo, which is awesome, every 2 years. And I think that's about it for April. So it's a very busy April.
To find out more about me, again, my name is Ken Okel. You can go to my website, which is KENOKEL.com. I'm a professional speaker who works with people who want to improve productivity, performance, and, you guessed it, profits. Let's talk about the next episode. Let's look at the movies. So you got your Star Wars trilogies. You got your Lord of the Rings trilogies. We're in a trilogy right now. So we've talked about the selling. Rock, what's coming up in the next couple episodes?
The next will be the buy side. What the experience was for this particular buyer in this case. And then after that, we'll go into the due diligence, the process of due diligence, the advisors, strategies, the potential, the pro forma process, and the integration. And then you'll have the post-transaction, which is a post-close. And then we'll also probably end up talking about the progress of this particular M&A process, which is a lot of fun to observe every month and every quarter, the activities that are going on and the growth by analytics and metrics.
A lot to look forward to. Well, thank you very much, Rock, for joining us today. And as we say, as we close out every episode, we will
see you in the marketplace.
See you in the marketplace.
This is the Prince's Edge with Rock LaManna. Thanks for listening.